Hi everyone, and today I want to share a story with you. A story that, perhaps, many of us will find ourselves in. A story about the little things, seemingly harmless, that can make us feel a bit lost in our own lives. A few years ago, I started noticing something strange. It wasn't anything major, like forgetting a friend's birthday or important events, but it was those very ordinary moments. For example, I'd walk into the kitchen to get a glass, then stand there in the middle of the room, completely unable to remember why I went in. Or worse, while talking to a close friend, their name would suddenly vanish from my mind for a few agonizing seconds. Like, oh, their name is, um, what's your name again? It felt like there was a tiny black hole in my brain. At first, I reassured myself, oh well, it's just age, everyone goes through it. But then it started happening more frequently. I began to worry. Was I losing my memory? Was this the beginning of something more serious? That feeling, it wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a vague fear. A fear that I wouldn't remember precious memories or the faces of loved ones. It felt like I was dropping bits of my memory along the way. Then one day, I read a scientific article. It didn't say that everything was over. On the contrary, it talked about the brain's ability to recover its plasticity. And most importantly, the article emphasized that we can absolutely improve our memory through small, consistent habits. Sounds too simple, right? I was skeptical at first. Could a few small habits really make such a big difference? But at that point, I had nothing left to lose. I decided to give it a try. Consider it a personal experiment. The first habit I started implementing was walking. Sounds unrelated to the brain, doesn't it? But the article said that just 15 minutes of brisk walking every day is enough to improve blood circulation, bringing oxygen and nutrients to the brain. I remember that first day, it was a bit chilly, and I put on my jacket and walked around the park near my house. It didn't feel particularly special, but gradually, after a few weeks, I noticed I was more alert, less likely to feel foggy in the afternoon. It was like my brain was recharged. Next was diet. I never paid much attention to what I ate, as long as it tasted good. But when I learned that omega-3s are crucial for brain health, I started eating more salmon and tuna. At first, it was a bit much, but I got used to it. I even tried adding chia seeds to my yogurt every morning. I don't know if it was truly the omega-3s, but I felt my focus improve significantly. I was less distracted when working. After that, I moved on to a more interesting challenge, learning something new each week. I chose to learn Spanish. Just 5 new words a day. That's 35 words a week. It was tough at first, pronunciations were tricky, and I had to remember meanings. There were times I wanted to give up. But then I told myself, this is how I'm exercising my brain. Gradually, I not only learned a few basic conversational phrases, but more importantly, I felt a return of flexibility in my thinking and problem solving. And then there was sleep. This was the hardest one for me. I was a true night owl, often staying up late watching movies or browse online. But when I read that sleep is when the brain cleans up and organizes information, I made an effort. I turned off my phone earlier, read a book before bed. At first, I tossed and turned, but my body gradually adjusted. The feeling of waking up after a deep sleep, with a clear mind, was truly wonderful. I realized that remembering new information the next day became much easier. Finally, a change I believe all of us need to consider: avoiding excessive multitasking. I used to be proud that I could answer emails, talk on the phone, and think about my next task all at once. But in reality, I was just doing everything superficially. When I started focusing on one task at a time, turning off all notifications while working, I found myself more productive and less likely to forget details. It was like my brain no longer had to race between dozens of pieces of information simultaneously. After a few months, I noticed a clear change. Those dropping memory moments gradually decreased. I no longer stood bewildered in a room, no longer fumbled for familiar names. I'm still not perfect, but the feeling of having control over my memory, the feeling of confidence in my abilities, has returned. What I want to tell you today is, our memory is not a downward spiral that can't be salvaged. It's like a garden. If we tend to it, water it, fertilize it, prune it, it will always flourish and bloom. Don't let age or those forgetful moments discourage you. Believe that with these simple, scientifically proven habits, you can absolutely maintain a sharp memory, a flexible mind, and a fulfilling life. Start with one small thing today. Just 15 minutes of walking, a few walnuts, or a new vocabulary word. Give yourself a chance to reconnect with your memories so you don't have to fear losing something precious. Because age is just a number, but memory, it's a practice. It's the journey you choose to nourish your brain. Thanks for listening.